Alrighty, folks, at the end of the day, do you, or maybe even worse, the people you listen to, do they have financial PTSD? And that is causing them and you to be poor. Folks, at the end of the day, there are lots of people out there talking about finance and housing. What you need to understand is some of them, in fact, many of them, have PTSD. Perhaps they were in the mortgage business and had a foreclosure and they never got over it. Maybe they worked in the mortgage industry and underwriting and they have PTSD from that. At the end of the day, folks, if you think everything is the GFC, you are greatly wrong. And it is causing you and your followers to be broke because it is not all about the GFC. Matt, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing super awesome. Thanks again for all the kind words in the previous video about the new Bigger Pockets interview. Super excited for it. It was great to work with those guys finally. And thanks to you, and certainly thanks to Dion and sending them some notes. I appreciate you guys helping me stand on your shoulders. So it was awesome. It was a lot of fun to work with those guys. But to this point, I can tell you that people can. This is not going to be good. People can live in their victimhood as long as they would like. That's your choice. That's your choice. You see people use it as fuel, or you see people where it just absolutely burned them up. And that's just the choice that people get to make. I've seen abuse victims get absolutely crushed and live the rest of their life defeated, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, and never able to get out of it. And I see others that used it and said, listen, this is something that happened to me. It's not something that defines me. And I'm going to make something of myself on purpose because of it. And make sure that whatever was meant for bad is going to be used for good. Mm-hmm. And so I look at it and I look at this the same exact way. People through the great financial crisis lost houses. I was almost bankrupt 3 times. What did I do? I never stopped fighting. I never made excuses. I never said, woe is me. I just said, you know what? We got to figure it out. I lived poor for years upon years trying to dig out from the rentals that I had because I wouldn't let them go to foreclosure. I refused. So people can choose. Do you want to be the victor or the victim? And what you do with that fuel that happened to you, what you do with that is entirely up to you. I've seen far too many people, the same exact horrible, nasty, awful things happen to them. My daughter with cancer, I could have stopped after that and just said, you know what? I've got it. We're good enough. Like, I'm just going to only spend time with my kids moving forward. And that's it. No, that's not the way it was. I'm still supposed to teach them how to become a productive part of society and how to help others. That's still the goal.
Yeah. Dion, this is obviously an important topic to you. You are a teacher at heart. You are about helping people, but there are lots of creators out there who have clearly PTSD. They say things like 50% housing crash in 2026. They talk about housing crash every single day for 4 years. Never admit they're wrong, but yet they keep doing this, and they keep people being broke. They're just Jerry Springer in a new era. What do you think?
So I have a video coming out on this in about a week or so, as soon as I actually get to the beach in Phuket and have good Wi-Fi, and it's the right time of day to do a live. But this is a teachable moment, and it's going to be a little bit personal. So I'm going to try to just keep my emotions clear and talk about educating people on the difference between post-traumatic stress and post-traumatic stress disorder. And almost everyone that you ever encounter in your entire life, no matter who they are, probably beyond the age of 3, has PTS, right? The idea is, if nothing severe occurs in your life, whatever occurs in your life seems severe. And that PTS makes you better, right? If you, when it comes to finances, financial PTS, you can go, don't buy every shiny new thing. You've learned that the shiny object syndrome can diversify you too much. You've learned to keep cash reserves. You've learned to borrow responsibly. Like, we have a loan to value ratio we want in growth mode and a ratio we want in retirement. Learn before you invest and as you invest. Like, these are the stress from post-traumatic. Something bad happened in your finances and you come out of that and you go, that was very stressful. How do I avoid that? The disorder part is when you go, all debt is bad. You're just flat out, I'll never have any debt again. Investing is gambling. Just any form of investing is gambling. Or my favorite, the crash bros might be right this time, right? The disorder happens when it cripples your ability to do anything. And so this is somebody survives a car wreck, they start wearing seatbelts more. They learn to take a defensive driver course. Somebody gets in a car wreck and never drives again. It's debilitating. And so I think finances are the same way. We all need to look at the things that have happened to us, the traumas we've been through. The homeowner in 2008 who had an adjustable rate mortgage gets laid off from his job and struggles to keep the house for the next few years as the rates went up, the payment changed, income was reduced. The idea of, wow, maybe anybody who has a mortgage is an idiot. Like that thought comes in when you have the disorder. The stress goes, oh, I should have reserves. I should work on my credit score. I should not be over levered. I should be buying cash flowing assets, because when I lost the job in law enforcement, I was really impacted. But now, an example is Alex, the accidental investor, has a government position, right? He has a contractor on a Navy base close to me. He lives right next, not too far away from me. He didn't get a paycheck through the whole government shutdown. But because he had rentals, he was fine, carried him through. So there are other people that are going to go, wow, the government can shut down and I can lose my job. I shouldn't have a government job. Instead of, I have a job that's at risk to a government shutdown, to layoffs, to physical ability. I should own some cash flowing assets.
Yeah. I think when I look at all of this, and again, there are, and I'm not going to name them here, but people probably know who I'm referring to. There are some content creators who clearly have PTSD from bad events, and they just haven't let them go. The problem is they're a content creator giving advice and they have PTSD. So again, all debt is bad. All leverage is bad. Real estate must crash. Too much leverage. Must go down 50%. Must be worse than 08. Must. Instead of stepping back and taking kind of a review of what happened, right? To kind of Matt's point, right? Why did it go down this way? Right? Was I over leveraged? Did the rates go against me? One of my favorite books, and I've said it many times, is this book called Extreme Ownership. And the reason that book is so important to me is that's just how I lived my life, right? Life's not been great, but I just assumed everything was my problem. And the reason I did that is it gave me power where I didn't have power, right? If I started blaming other people, I was lost because I couldn't change their behavior. But if I just found a way to take ownership of it, and then I could change, I could do different, I could, save money or whatever it is, so that, get a job at 13 so I could put food in the fridge, that kind of stuff. It just made me feel better. And I am very concerned, and having been creating content now for the better part of 8 years, I've seen it, right? So-and-so, caused me not to do anything, and I'm 3 years late. So-and-so did this and that. And, I would love these creators who clearly have PTSD to step back and just tell the audience, what happened, why? Because I think if you understand why it happened, you take ownership, maybe there's a lesson there. What do you think, Matt?
Absolutely. People will literally have an aha moment. They go, yeah, that's exactly why that guy believes that. That's exactly why. Meanwhile, for me, you don't grow up going, yeah, real estate's awesome. Like that's not usually how it goes. No. Because you're not having that conversation usually until your 20s. And that's if your parents did something about it and actually owned their house and they weren't renters. So I think very often people don't understand that very often people are teaching lessons out of their hurts instead of out of their victories. And when you do it out of a victory, it means that the other person can achieve victory as well. And when you're doing it and it's not, then it's exactly this crazy self-perpetuating thing where it's like, yeah, your family's generationally poor. Why? Because you've all done exactly the same thing, and you've only heard the groups about how the American dream isn't attainable and there's no way that you can get there, and the rich guys owe everything, and Wall Street's never stops buying, and that everything's against the little guy. Oh, just shut up. Quit with your whining. Honest to God, that's just not how it is. Dion's parents didn't really own a house. They basically would go and repair them and live in them. Mike's lived paycheck to paycheck. Mine lived paycheck to paycheck. And somehow we didn't think, oh, we're never going to own a house one day because then the big man owns us. It's just silly. So people should be far more selective in who they allow to sow seeds, in their mind garden.
Yeah. Again, one of the things that we've undoubtedly said and heard many times is you are the accumulation of your 5 friends. I want you to understand that this is one of your 5 friends.
Absolutely.
And if you're consuming Jerry Springer content, you're going to be broke. These people are Jerry Springer. I always call them doomers and crash bros. I think that's doing a disservice. They are Jerry freaking Springer, who is creating the most sensational guests so that fights happen on purpose. You're entertained, but you're broke. When you watch a Jerry Springer show, you are not better for it. You might laugh. You might have some stories. You're certainly entertained, but you are not a better person for watching Jerry Springer. That's what you're doing. You are consuming morons and idiots who have PTSD, who are broke and will always be broke, who are paying their rent with Jerry Springer creation of content. Block them.
Yeah.
Block them. Dion?
So I have a 6-word sentence that I'll explain in a little bit more detail. But education is therapy for financial trauma. If you have a traumatic experience with money and you have fear stopping you from taking action, what happens if you educate yourself on what good debt is? Like, differentiate the difference between bad and good debt. Somebody else pays it off. It makes more than it costs you. What if you educate yourself on how investing works? Right? How many people look at crypto and think, I would never own it. I don't even know what a wallet is. And so they just stop in their tracks. The best performing asset of the last 15 years, even though it just took another 20% haircut, it's probably still going to be the best performing asset, Bitcoin, for the next 5 years or whatever. If you think rentals is just tenants trashing your properties, vacancies where you're carrying the mortgage, and you don't educate yourself on how it actually works, you'd never get into it. What if you educated yourself? You took the education to learn, why do assets appreciate over time? What is levered appreciation? How does depreciation work? All of those little concepts that you put together that take your fear and go, okay, the fear is real, but it's really small compared to the possible outcomes of actually taking action. And that's where the school community comes in. That's where, and surrounding yourself with people that have the same ideas, the same people who go, there is risk in investing. How do I manage it? How do I mitigate it? How do I overcome it? Because I have this trauma in my financial past. It doesn't have to be the thing that stops you in your tracks. It can be the thing that puts you on the path.
Love it. Guys, you are amazing. Dion, you're doing all this all the way from Thailand. You're on the river. You're going to Phuket. Living life out loud. You're gone for 3 months. Just showing you what is possible, folks, with a decade of focus and execution. Where can they find you?
Well, for the next 3 months until February, they can find me in Thailand on YouTube every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, where I do a live stream that lasts as long as the questions do. In February, I'm flying to Vegas for the One Rental at a Time event on Valentine's Day, the weekend, I think, of the 14th and 15th.
Correct.
And after that, I'm actually not sure. I don't have a return ticket to home.
He may go somewhere else.
I might go somewhere else. We'll see.
There you go. Matt, what about you? Where do they find you?
Lumberjack Landlord, 9 p.m. Eastern times on Thursdays, where you can find Dion is 4 p.m. Pacific times on Tuesdays. We'll just answer questions, anything that comes in. I like to be a fixer, so I like to answer those questions. But I think the other thing that we often forget is that people always like the life that we have now and have no interest in making the effort to create the life that we created.
Amen.
Like a lot of lazy out there, but lazy in a bad way. Dion wasn't lazy in the beginning. He's lazy now. He's lazy now. He wasn't in the first 10 years, but he's lazy now. That's the mistake that people make, is that no one's waiting there to give you the gift of success. Every single person goes out and earns it. I can tell you, you know what? The most miserable set of people are content creators on YouTube. They're the most miserable people in the world, because when they get successful and they get the amount of money that comes in from being successful at it, it becomes a burden to them, and they become a slave to views. They become a slave to how much money their videos are going to pay them. And very often they become hating the process.
Oh, amen.
And absolutely miserable about having to do it, but they have no other option of how to replace that income.
Yeah, it's I pay for some tools called vidIQ, and I've you could take sneak peeks inside other content creators, and You're absolutely right. There are some Jerry Springer level content creators in housing, in real estate. We all know who they are. Monster channels, arguably very successful because they're bigger than all three of us combined. I mean,
Sure.
by 2x, 3x.
Sure.
And there was a time they were printing money. There were times their channels were doing $20K a month. I don't know if people know this, but YouTube's down 70%.
Yeah.
So, but they probably built up a lifestyle where they're just struggling now. And, oh, by the way, they got to create content that I really believe most of them don't believe, but they just got an algorithm that they got to feed. And it's a horrible life. And I will say this last thing, which I didn't think I would ever say, but I feel bad for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
they're miserable.
They gotta be.
They are. I've talked to a number of them. They're miserable. They do everything they can to outsource every part of the job that they used to enjoy. And they have to do that because they can't mentally bring themselves to doing what it took to get to success. Oh. And the issue is that what's the longevity of that, right? How many landlords get in to become a landlord and 10 years later still own their buildings? I would tell you most. Yeah. How many YouTubers get into it and 10 years later, they're still in the top 100 channels?
Oh,
almost none. Yeah. Almost none.
Yeah.
Almost none.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone's one of the few.
Yeah. Folks, at the end of the day, what my challenge to you is be honest. Are you consuming content from a content creator who has PTSD and is now Jerry Springer? Again, if you are watching them for the sheer entertainment value, by all means, go nuts. But if you're watching them to get better, I've got bad news for you. It ain't going to happen. Jerry Springer never made a guest rich. Jerry Springer never made his audience rich. He wasted your time. He might have made you chuckle. He may have said, wow, those people suck. I'm glad I'm not them. But you didn't get rich watching Jerry Springer. Stop it. Block them. Take care, guys. Later.
Thanks, Mike.
Ciao.